Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I assume that I sound okay because I was just playing with the volume of my microphone. If it's too quiet, tell me right now so that I can know if nobody hears me. Yeah, I know people were placing bets. Everyone was wrong. You see. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. Okay, fantastic. Um, David is on his way. I just texted him and he's on his way. What, too loud? What are you talking about? Can't be too loud. David is on his way. Um, I just didn't want to wait. I wanted to start because I have a sense of professionalism. And when I schedule a live stream, I don't want people to wait because I find it disrespectful. Uh, and I don't want to break this principle. So I said to him, hey, I'm going to go live because I can't make people wait. And whenever you're ready, just join. So that's that. We have to acknowledge and respect the professionalism in this job that we're doing. This is important stuff. Can you imagine, like, if I was late to every live stream? That would be ridiculous. Yeah. So today I want to talk about an event that happened earlier. According to Al Jazeera, um, Israel opened fire and caused the death of 1 million people in during the food delivery or aid delivery stuff. Um, that's how I read Al Jazeera. I don't know. They said Israel causes deaths of over 100 something people. They just try to hold back and try to hold back and not say stuff like, today 1 billion people were killed by the Israeli occupation, of which 50 million are children and 60 million are women, and the rest are superhuman extraterrestrial beings that are so good we have never even had the ability to meet them, but they were brutally murdered today by Israel. Aside from Al Jazeera, other sources say that Gaza health authorities reported that people died today during a chaotic incident. 104 people, according to the very reliable Gaza Health Authority, which means Hamas. And very early, the IDF acknowledged that something did indeed happen and people did indeed die. And very early on, they made a statement on it and said, we are sorry for what happened. However, they also acknowledged from the very beginning that it wasn't an incident of Israel shooting and killing people. But the anti-Zionist, anti-Israeli side came out from second one and said, look here, this is a massacre, the greatest massacre ever. Israel just killed hundreds of people. And so far, there is no evidence of any of that. I made a post earlier. I'm just reading my own Twitter feed because it's the most reliable news source. I'm just kidding. So I made this tweet earlier, said today over 100 people died during the aid delivery in Gaza. Every single video of the incident shows nothing except that the crowd gets out of control. A stampede ensues. A truck then tries to escape and runs people over. The IDF issues warning shots in response to approaching crowds and reportedly shoots at a few people, causing maximum 10 injuries. What we read from the anti-Israeli sources, however, is IDF waited for crowds to arrive, then IDF opened fire at them instead of letting them get aid, then IDF bombed them, then IDF tanks ran over the dead and injured bodies, etc. None of these claims are supported with a single piece of evidence so far. If there is one, I would like to see it. Not ambiguous, Suleiman Ahmed captions, real evidence. I posted this. I'm so far still waiting for evidence. Instead of posting actual evidence, people just post gore and all kinds of different things in the comment section. I just checked 5 minutes ago. I still couldn't see a single piece of evidence for any of these claims, and there still is nothing. But I want to go through everything that has been said. Still just waiting here for for Brother Dawood to arrive. I think Brother Dawood is doing his evening prayer right now, and then he will be here once he sends his greetings to Allah and to Muhammad, the Prophet, peace be upon him. So let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. People already call it a massacre. The most ridiculous thing here is also that some people are like, this is the one of the greatest massacres to occur in modern history. And these are the same people who are pro-Palestine activists. They completely ignored what happened on October 7th. Hey, what's up?
Hey, yo, what's up?
Good, 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 good. What's up?
Hey, what's good?
I believe that our sounds are pretty much equal, that our volumes are pretty much
What
equal.
audio? Check, yo. Check, yo.
If they're not equal, then if you don't like it, just leave and watch something else. What's up, David?
Hey, just so you know, I have no clue what this story is. I just saw it. I mean, I did see it on Twitter saying a bunch of people were massacred while trying to get food. So that is the extent of my knowledge of the situation. This will all be new information to me. So I will be enlightened with the rest of your viewers, sir. And I will be here to add color commentary and to make fun of Muhammad when necessary.
That is extremely disrespectful and terrible of you. Not to know anything, but that's all right. So
you literally invited me to the live stream 5 minutes before it was starting.
At least I invited you.
Okay.
I could have just not invited you. All right. So yeah. So this is the first post that came in that I saw on my feed. So here's Hillel Fold, who is a self-proclaimed proud Zionist, and he said there was no massacre of Palestinians in Gaza today. You will be hearing that there was. It's propaganda. Palestinians trampled each other as they fought for the aid that the IDF sent, in knowing that Hamas was going to steal it like they have stolen all aid. Hundreds of Palestinians were trampled to death and many others injured. In parallel, a Palestinian mob tried to attack IDF forces, who proceeded to shoot warning shots in the air, and when the mob didn't stop, the IDF fired at their legs. As I said, no massacre in Gaza. When the propaganda starts populating your feed, just know that it is 100% false. You'll be hearing about this fabricated massacre across all mainstream media in 3, 2, 1. Here is footage of the Palestinian mob trying to steal aid and trampling each other. Don't believe the lies that are being fed to the media directly from Hamas. Now, I want to say something here off the very beginning. I have been extremely supportive of Israel. I love Israel. I think Israel has been very, very good throughout the conflict and throughout this war, despite the loud voices of the anti-Zionists and anti-Jews. I am, however, completely open to any piece of evidence. If there is, if Israel is at fault here, if Israel actually, if the IDF forces caused the deaths, if they killed people, if they shot at people, if stuff like that happened and the IDF misrepresented it and covered it up and all of that, I am open to acknowledging it. However, I want to see it, which is why I specifically make a post in which I ask people for evidence, and I check and check and check again and again and again. I'm not here to deny anything. That's not what we do. So I'm going to look at what the IDF released. This is footage released from the IDF to clarify to everyone what happened here.
Now what is that, by the way? Is that fighting over food or something? Looks like something from World War Z.
So what happened here is the IDF has been allowing humanitarian aid trucks to go into Gaza for 4 days now, 4 consecutive days in the same manner, and here they are basically
hang on.
Right.
Yeah, I'd heard that they had to stop trucks because they were being attacked.
Yeah.
So they started up the trucks again.
There are lots of claims from inside Gaza, and also a bunch of evidence that Hamas intercepts and exploits humanitarian aid. What Israel does here is to go in there and surveil the whole situation with drones, which is what you see here, and also to go in there and stay at a distance to observe the situation from afar to see what's happening. So as soon as the rumor started getting out, Israel, the IDF released this footage. And remember, this is the 4th day of delivery. So for 3 days now before this, the humanitarian aid was delivered. Incidents broke out, but nothing big happened. But today, as the trucks came in, the crowd started rushing and climbing on the trucks, and stuff happened. Let's look at this quickly here. So the drone is observing it, going in. These trucks are meant to go somewhere else. This is not the final destination here. And then people are supposed to take the aid from the trucks and distribute it to the population that is there. However, the trucks are being rushed and basically attacked here before they even reach their destination. That is the first issue that the IDF points out. And they also published a map for that, to which I will get in a minute. So we got this here.
That would be like what would happen if you walked into Gaza.
That's true. That's true. That's
Gosh,
very
look at that.
true.
Are those all those like so those are multiple trucks and all the trucks are being sort of
Yeah.
swarmed? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And some people are pointing out, look at this situation. How can you not feel for these people? These people are all running for food and all of that. And
that's true.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
That's true. Yeah. If you're hungry, that's exactly what you'll do. But I mean, if you're hungry enough, you'll go rob and kill someone to get food. It doesn't mean that person should just, oh, okay, yeah, rob and kill me or something like that. So yeah, you can understand that this is a really messed up situation, and you can look at it from multiple angles. You can look at it from the perspective of the truck driver who's getting mobbed, and from the perspective of the IDF who's watching this and trying to protect the trucks, or I don't know what they're doing, and from the perspective of people who are trying to run and grab food for their kids.
The funny thing is also, the IDF has, if it was like, if the IDF is this completely reckless, callous organization, they personally specifically have no interest in protecting the truck driver or anything like that, because the drivers are Palestinian. They are not Israeli or anything. So if it came down to that, and you said the Israel is like, doesn't care about Palestinians, they don't have any business protecting those drivers. The drivers are accused, and also shown here, by the way, of running over people in this situation because they're at some point trying to escape, and this is also considered the major cause of deaths. But the drivers are Palestinian; they're not Israelis. Let's see. Lots of people are storming, running. So you can already see that the situation here is getting out of hand. This is not how the distribution is supposed to be done. It's supposed to be at a certain point administered, but it's getting out of hand. And yeah, that's how it continues. You see here, they go from truck to truck, from this one to that one. This is not supposed to be happening. They're not supposed to be independently running toward these trucks. Israel also described it as mobs ambushing or looting the trucks, upon which the truck drivers became. Oh, here you can see it. Look, here you can see that the truck is driving with people on top of the truck.
Doesn't that suck, by the way, though? Because so they swarm the trucks, which is going to make people not want to deliver supplies to them, because you're going to get mobbed, which makes the people hungrier, which means that as soon as someone decides to drive a truck in there, they're going to get mobbed even more, which is it's a screwed up cycle that they're in.
Yeah. What you can see is that without anything happening here, so one of the narratives, one of the accusations is that Israel started firing, at which point things got out of hand and escalated and all of that. But you can see here very clearly that there is no exterior trigger. It's like the whole situation is completely out of control from the very beginning, and the people are not really following the procedure and are not really are already making it get out of hand quite quickly. This is another thing that the IDF published because there were accusations that the Israeli army um, was shooting at people or running people over. So the Israeli army published the footage here, which shows. So here is the road that these trucks were driving. You can see that. Here is where the Israeli forces are, where the IDF forces and tanks are that are overseeing the whole situation. So they are distant from the population, from the people here who are going for the aid. This is where they are supposed to start or arrive. Somebody tell me. This is, as far as I remember, where the incident began. But yeah, so this is where the road is. This is where the IDF is placed and waiting. There was no situation of the IDF going in there and running people over. There is no single footage of that at all. No such thing happening. There's also no single footage, no single evidence of the IDF shooting at people so far. I'm still checking over and over and over and over again. All kinds of evidence that people gave me. Here's one thing that people linked to quite a few times. Let's see. Suppressed Voice says the Flower Massacre. Video footage from this morning depicts Israeli tanks firing upon starving residents as they await aid convoys in northern Gaza. This is Israel. This is what they represent, terrorizing civilians who are starved due to the siege imposed on Gaza. So I thought, oh, okay, so we have evidence. We have
Hold
actually...
up. Hey, wait 1 second. Why is there a siege on Gaza?
There is no siege on Gaza, but there is one up.
I'm just saying, what led to this problem? I don't know what's going on.
No, IDF was just bored one day, and then they decided to just go in there.
Oh, they just like woke up one day and was like, "Hey, let's go mess with Gaza." Okay.
Yeah,
Good enough.
So I thought, hey, if there is evidence, then I guess okay, on this video we can probably see tanks shooting. So. All right. So far, David, have you seen a tank or the IDF shooting at people?
I think I saw a tank.
Does that mean that they're shooting at people?
I mean, I saw a tank, so it's possible that it's shooting at people.
Yeah, or maybe they're trying to.
Were you
or something? I don't know.
Were you there?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then we have footage of injured and dead people. And somebody wrapped up dead or injured, one person. Now, my question here is, this was seen quite a few times. Where in this footage do you see a tank shooting at people? I'm not trying to dismiss anything, right? I'm asking for actual evidence. Where is the evidence? There was a tank there, and you heard shots at some point. That's it. You heard what sounded like machine gun shots. That's all. That's all there is. I don't see anything else here. So, video footage depicts Israeli tanks firing upon starving residents. Really? I'm waiting. If anyone in the comment section and if anyone in the chat says, hey, I have the evidence, you're just denying it, it's right here, link it to me. I'll happily go and have a look at it. So far, there still is nothing. Let's see what Yosef Haddad, who is an Israeli Arab, posted here. He posted a compilation of basically everything that we have seen. People are rushing and climbing on the trucks, which is not supposed to be happening. The crowds are rushing, mobbing, and trucks are then driving through the crowds. That's all there is. He also pointed out there is no single such evidence. The world is already buying the narrative without any proof before everyone takes Hamas's word for it, like in the case of the Al-Ahli hospital, which ended up being hit by an Islamic Jihad rocket, not Israel, and Hamas greatly exaggerated the number of victims. Let's hear the first details that are known. And he basically repeated what I already summarized. So this is a compilation of everything we know and everything we have seen. This is all there is. There is, again, still no single piece of evidence that people were shot at and that people were killed here by the Israeli forces. Now, let's see what spokespeople of the IDF say, because obviously they have to make a statement about this, right? Let's see what the IDF says to this. I will.
Hey, wait. What are the proposed community notes?
I don't even want to check right now.
This is the proof.
It's just so much full of garbage. I checked earlier. Let's see what this guy says. So here's Hagari, he was the spokesperson for the IDF. We recognize the suffering of the innocent people of Gaza. This is why we are seeking ways to expand our humanitarian efforts. Watch the full statement by IDF spokesperson General Hagari on the incident regarding the humanitarian aid convoy the IDF facilitated. Let's see what they say.
This morning, the IDF coordinated a convoy to 38 trucks to provide additional humanitarian assistance to the residents of northern Gaza. This humanitarian aid came from Egypt, went through a security screening at the Kerem Shalom humanitarian crossing in Israel, and then entered Gaza for distribution by private contractors. As these vital humanitarian supplies were making their way towards Gazans in need, thousands of Gazans dispensed upon the trucks. Some began violently pushing and even trampling other Gazans to death, looting the humanitarian supplies.
We have seen basically what he just described, right? So people rushing toward the trucks, and obviously, do you expect that to go well?
Hey, I have to point out, after you and me were trying to get into Gaza. We were trying to get into Gaza to make some videos discussing stuff, but after seeing them swarm those trucks, I don't know. You might have lucked out by not getting in there.
Yeah.
Well, me, I'd have gone like kung fu, and like I'd have been able to deal with it. But
well, of course, we would have gone with complete IDF protection there, so we would have been totally fine. And the IDF are strong. Yes. Oh, look at this! Look at these propagandists. Look at Owen Jones here. This guy is just such a scumbag. I don't know how else to say it. The Israeli army just massacred over 100 Palestinians as they tried to get flour for their families. Israeli tanks then ran over the dead and injured bodies. Where's the evidence? Where is the evidence for any of this?
He said it. It's you never heard of the famous source? Trust me, bro.
Oh, is that what they're using? I'm not very familiar with that.
Yeah. I don't know anything about it beyond what I've seen here, but I'm like you. I haven't seen anything to make me think that this is an accurate story. However, I don't know that it's not. So yeah, it's gotta kind of suspend judgment. And the longer people go without actually providing any evidence for the claims they're making on Twitter, the more suspicious I would have to be. But as of right now, totally open to any evidence of anything that happened.
To be fair, you can't blame him. He's a socialist, as it says here.
Okay.
So
you see,
yeah,
and an anti-fascist.
Oh, anti-fascist. Yeah.
Incident resulted in dozens of Gazans killed and injured. Here are the facts. At 4:40 a.m., the first aid truck in the humanitarian convoy started making its way through the humanitarian corridor that we were securing. Yes, the IDF was securing the humanitarian corridor so that the aid destination in northern Gaza. Our tanks were there to secure the humanitarian corridor for the aid convoy. Our UAVs.
This is the funny thing. People say IDF tanks fired at Gazans who were just trying to get aid. There are so many people there. On the videos we have just seen, there were so many people. So many people claimed that that tanks shot at them. is there really not a single person who actually took a video of the IDF or tanks shooting at them? Is there really not a single person who actually captured a proper video of that incident? Lots of people believe it now. It's like millions of shares of this claim, but there's no single person who actually has credible footage of any of this happening. And we don't even have dozens of people with bullet wounds or anything, or with, I don't know, body parts shot off or anything of that sort. Nothing.
We're there in the air to give our forces a clear picture from above. During this humanitarian operation, at 4:45 a.m., a mob ambushed the aid trucks, bringing the convoy to a halt.
Okay.
As you can see in this video, the tanks that were there to secure the convoy sees the Gazans being trampled and cautiously tries to disperse the mob with a few warning shots. When the hundreds became thousands and things got out of hand, the tank commander decided to retreat to avoid harm to the thousands of Gazans that were there. Here you can see how cautious they were when they were backing up. I think as a military man, they were backing up.
You know what I find funny? How sloppy the IDF is sometimes. Considering that they are accused of being these mastermind, genius, evil things that rule the world. He just said, here you can see them backing up. And I don't want to make any judgment here without seeing it, but I'm pretty sure they forgot to include the footage, right? He said, here you can see, but there's nothing to see.
They should just send us some IDF uniforms, and we'll make their videos for them.
Yes, I know.
When they were backing up, I think as a military man,
It's like so many times I see the IDF publish something and they make a typo, or they include the wrong footage, or they get something wrong. It's like,
As you can see from this graphic. No graphic, dude.
a lot of respect for the IDF.
Sorry. All our editors only speak Hebrew, so they don't know what I just said.
But maybe there's something good about pointing out this sloppiness, because it just shows that they are not these genius evil masterminds. You know? Or maybe that's what they want us to think. I don't know.
Yeah, Owen Jones will be like, oh, if they got their graphic wrong, what else did they get wrong? Maybe they did massacre all those people.
Yeah.
they were backing up securely, risking their own life, not shooting at the mob. The Israel Defense Forces operate according to the rules of engagement and the international law. No IDF strike was conducted towards the aid convoy. I want to repeat that. No IDF strike was conducted toward.
You know why he's pointing this out right now? No IDF strike was conducted toward. So strike means airstrike.
The aid convoy.
Because this kind of became quieter and quieter, but the whole thing started out with people claiming and selling as a fact that the IDF actually started bombing the site of the humanitarian aid, which is a ludicrous, ridiculous claim. It's one thing to claim that they started shooting at people, because even the IDF here says that they did start firing warning shots, but to go ahead and say they started bombing airstrikes, that's just incredibly ridiculous. But that's how it started out, and there are still people going around, still major accounts saying the IDF bombed the humanitarian aid distribution site. This is why he's clarifying that there was no strike.
On the contrary, the IDF was there conducting a humanitarian operation to secure the humanitarian corridor and allow the aid convoy to reach its designated distribution point, so that the humanitarian aid could reach Gazan civilians in the north that are in need. We have been conducting a humanitarian operation of this kind for the last 4 nights without any problem. It's the first night that we had this kind of event. This humanitarian aid was coordinated by Israel for the people of Gaza. We want humanitarian aid to reach the people of Gaza. We are working around the clock to make this happen. Israel puts no limits on the amounts of aid that can go into Gaza. We are working together with humanitarian organizations and the international community to help them solve the issue of aid distribution inside Gaza. It is a problem. This morning, humanitarian aid made its way to the northern Gaza. There was no IDF strike on this aid. I repeat, there was no IDF strike on this aid. On the contrary, the IDF was conducting a humanitarian operation. That's why we were there. Because our war is against Hamas, not against the people of Gaza. We are in a war that we did not start. We did not seek. Hamas started this war when it massacred and kidnapped Israeli civilians on October 7th, and then went back into Gaza and hid behind the Gazan civilians, using them as a human shield. We recognize the suffering of the
People don't understand sometimes what Israel means when they say that they use civilians as human shield, and they're like, oh, they're always making the same excuse, human shield. They shoot at civilians, and then they say they use them as human shield. I don't know how often to say this, but according to according to Hamas's own admissions, that's precisely what they're doing. They fight from tunnels. They fight from places where they feel protected. That's where they direct their resources at. And the civilian population is unprotected, is out there in the open. And Hamas does not bother building shelters or anything for them, because Hamas does not believe that it is their responsibility to protect the civilian population of Gaza. So they shoot, they go to war, then they retreat and hide under the population in tunnels, by their own admission, and among civilians. And what they are hoping for is Israel cannot hit us. They cannot kill us. If they try to kill us, they will have to hit a bunch of targets where they will also have to kill civilians.
Yeah,
as a result of that, we will then complain.
They invent a win-win situation for themselves. If we go kill a bunch of them and then we run and hide among civilians, women and children and so on, then either they have to leave us alone because they don't want to hit the women and children, in which case we win, we're safe. Or if they do fire, they hit the women and children, and we use that on Twitter.
Yeah.
To turn more people against them. So they've invented a pretty evil but smart plan, evil but smart. And it does put Israel in a nightmare situation, because from the Israeli perspective, you either have to let terrorists get away with stuff, or you have to go in there and there's going to be civilian casualties, in which case that will be used to blast you all over the world.
Yeah. I showed this before several times, but here's, for example, footage of Hamas responding to precisely that. So this guy says many people are asking,
وهذا سؤال رائج وشائع، يعني من قام بتشييد 500 كيلومتر من الأنفاق، لماذا لم
you have built 500 kilometers of tunnels, why haven't you built bomb shelters?
يشيد مآوي يلجأ إليها المدنيون خلال القصف؟
نحن شيدنا الأنفاق لأنه لا نملك.
This is a Hamas speaker, official, and says we have built the tunnels because we have no
ما ندفع به عن
of protecting ourselves from being targeted and killed.
أنفسنا من القتل والاستهداف. هذه الأنفاق من أجل أن نحمي أنفسنا من الطائرات، نحمي مقاتلين من.
We are fighting from inside the tunnels, and the tunnels are supposed to protect us from being targeted as a result.
Yeah, the Hamas, the tunnels are for the Hamas fighters, not for the civilians, not for the innocents. They stay in the war zone.
Yeah, pretty sure this guy is not even there. Like he's saying we. Where is this? Is this guy in Qatar too? Musa Abu Marzouk. I think he's in Qatar. Let me see. I think he is in Qatar, but he's not in Gaza. He's speaking like, oh, we fight, we do, we this, we that. The guy is living his life. The guy is, yeah.
And AP, we mentioned this the other day, but the difference between the Israeli fighters and the Hamas fighters, we saw multiple places. Every dwelling, every like apartment dwelling or anything else that's built after a certain year has to have a safe room. And when I say safe room, it's not like a U.S. safe room where it's to keep you safe from an intruder. It's like bomb proof. And every newly constructed place has to have one of these. At the kibbutz, all the places had a safe room there. Every place we went, that was the kids' room. They put their kids in the safe room in case something comes out of nowhere. Their kids are already safe in the safe room. And we heard from people, and what happened when Hamas was attacking? They put the women and children inside, told them not to come out while the actual the fighters went out and fought. And it's the exact reverse. It's the exact reverse for Hamas. You kill a bunch of people, then the fighters, run and hide in tunnels. You don't bring the civilians into the tunnels to protect them. No, you leave the civilians up in the war zone while you go and hide. Just complete reversal of mentality. And somehow you're supposed to view the guys who kill a bunch of people, then run and hide in tunnels, hoping that the women and children get killed. You're supposed to view them as the good guys and the heroes in all this.
It's because that's the core of their values is death. They love death. That's what they say. They say we love death. They say the Israelis, the Jews, they love life, and we love death. We cherish death, and they think that this is a good thing, right? They think that's a good thing, while at the same time crying when they fail in war. But in Muslim culture and in this Arab culture, it is celebrated to kill and to die. When they die, this is a good thing. When people die on the Israeli side, it's not a good thing. When somebody dies, it's not a good thing. It's not something to celebrate. It is something sad, because while death is a reality, people cherish life, and giving life and taking life is not considered something that is just that is pleasant. The other side values death. They say they love death. They don't care about dying because they love death, which is why they also see no problem in exposing themselves to threats while fighting and trying to kill the other side. Yeah. He also says the video is not playing again for some reason, but we are fighting from inside the tunnels. Everybody knows that it doesn't play. I pushed it already. He says it is not the responsibility. It's the responsibility of the United Nations to protect these people. According to the Geneva Conventions, it is the responsibility of the occupation to provide them with all the services as long as they are under occupation. Like even if that was right, the guy is basically saying, well, officially, it's not our problem. It's not our responsibility to protect our own people. They are supposed to protect our people. We don't care. That's why we use these resources to protect ourselves only and not our people. This is how vile Hamas is. This is an admission of using people as human shield.
Innocent people of Gaza. This is why we are seeking ways to expand our humanitarian efforts. This is why we are conducting humanitarian operation like the one we conducted this morning.
That's it. That's what the IDF said in response. And of course, people are like, you're lying, you're a liar, you're a liar. We have all seen the proof. There's still no single proof. There's still no single piece of evidence that any of this actually happened. I made a post. I waited for proof. This guy here says, those poor trampled people with bullet wounds. I ask where? And I have to carefully look at the responses here, because there's just going to be some gore here taking place and deflections to other things. There's no evidence at all. No evidence at all. They post the same footage here, which we just saw, which doesn't show anything. Then there is this here. Max Blumenthal, who is, of course, a very reliable person on the conflict, who is ultimate scum, I must say, says more footage of the Flower massacre, your U.S. tax dollars at work. Let's see what we see here. What you see here is people climbing on the trucks one more time. Again, you see. Do you see how there were shots here that went quite high? I have still not seen a single person here who is like bullet ridden or missing body parts and dead and anything like that.
Hey,
Nothing. This is it. This is it. This is all there is. There's nothing here. Nothing. It was the idea of itself. Go ahead. What?
You know, to be classic, if you were asking for footage and then all of a sudden some footage of that guy they call Mr. Fafo was there, and he's like riddled with bullets, and then like the next day he's the doctor who's taking care of him or something.
Yeah. He's a doctor taking care of himself while he's riddled with bullets. So again, another footage, supposedly proof of the massacre, and again, there is nothing here. Again, there is nothing here. We hear shots intermittently, and it is the IDF itself that came out in the very first moment and made public and said, during the escalation, crowds started coming toward the IDF. We issued warning shots. I do believe that the IDF said at some point to the media that they did, upon crowds advancing, fire a few shots at people on a leg level when they didn't listen to the warning shots, and a maximum of 10 people or so were hit, is what they say. And this is what the IDF said from the very beginning, without responding to any claims. However, people say that they fired into the crowds, they killed people. There is no single piece of evidence for that. No single piece of evidence for that. If crowds run toward the IDF and the IDF issues warning shots, what do you think? What do you think happens if you storm toward the IDF? We actually, let me see. There was a source talking specifically about that incident, which was also pointing out that, according to Palestinian witnesses, most of the deaths were because people were run over. Let's see. Okay, this is only a screenshot of one of those important parts, but I want to kind of find the whole article. I had it earlier. It says, in the ensuing chaos, the lorries attempted to move forward. A Palestinian witness told the BBC that most of those who died were run over. So this is according to the BBC, what a Palestinian witness himself says. According to the BBC, which hasn't been a great friend of Israel during this war, the Palestinian witness says that most of the deaths were caused by the truck running people over. And the truck is, again, not controlled, not driven by the IDF. It is a humanitarian aid truck that the IDF only checks and then allows to go through, that is driven by Palestinians or by Egyptians or others.
Isn't that interesting? So you got trucks driven by Palestinians, and then Palestinians attack the truck, and then the Palestinian drivers run over people because they're freaked out because they're getting swarmed, and they don't know if people are going to rip them apart. And then the IDF gets blamed for everything.
That's how it always goes. That's how it always goes. It's just ridiculous at this point. I'm still waiting for evidence. Still no single piece of evidence. Let me see. I think I had a link to this BBC article here. Let's look at the words. The ensuing chaos, the lorries. Let's see what I found. All right, here's the article. Let me see what it says. Ensuing. Let's see, where is that? Lorry. Can't find it. On a convoy, coastal Gaza City, presence. Okay, this again reiterates the very same thing here. It says at least 112 Palestinians are said to have been killed and 760 injured trying to get desperately needed aid in Gaza. Crowds descended on a convoy of lorries on the coastal road southwest of Gaza City in the presence of Israeli tanks. Israel's military say tanks fired warning shots but did not strike the convoy. Some Palestinians say troops fired directly at them. Those claims I have seen. I still haven't seen any piece of evidence. A Palestinian witness told the BBC most of those who died had been run over as lorry drivers tried to move forward.
That's a Palestinian witness.
According to the BBC. You know the history of Israel and the BBC, right? The BBC has been reporting all kinds of trash and reporting statements by Hamas as if they were facts often, which is why Israel has been kind of fighting with the BBC and also making parodies of the BBC and things like that. And here is the BBC saying that a Palestinian witness says that most deaths were caused by a truck running them over. And the truck is not Israeli. That's it. Israeli aerial footage shows hundreds of people on and around lorries, while graphic videos posted online show bodies loaded onto emptied aid lorries and a donkey cart. Given the figures, 112 dead, and so on. Again, no further evidence for any of those claims made. However, let's see what people say here. There's this one Nazi guy who is supposedly a human rights dude, but a total Nazi lately. Alan McLeod says, the IDF just committed one of the worst massacres in modern history.
One of the worst massacres in modern history. Interesting. He must have access to all kinds of information that we don't have, dude.
Yeah. According to this guy, the IDF just committed one of the worst massacres in modern history.
Look at the headlines, though. More than 100 Palestinians are killed during Gaza food distribution. More than 100 Palestinians killed while waiting for food in Gaza, health ministry says. I'm looking for, okay, here we go. For what's that? Is that CNN breaking news? At least 100 killed and 700 injured in chaotic incident when IDF opened fire as people waited for food in Gaza. So at least that one would be what he's saying.
Uh-huh. Let me do something different here. Let me search this guy's profile. Alan
McLeod of the Clan McLeod.
Let's see. I'm really curious. I haven't checked.
There can be only one.
I haven't checked, but I'm really curious what he said on October 7th. All right, let's see. Let's look at the footage here. I'm sure if he describes this as one of the greatest massacres in modern history, then I'm pretty sure that he must also have condemned the massacres on October 7th, right? Because just a reminder, on October 7th, Hamas attacked Israel and in one day, or over 2 days or so, killed 1,200 people, mostly civilians. And specifically in one of the incidents when they attacked the Nova Music Festival in Reim, they killed more than 300 people there and tortured, raped, and captured others. That's significantly more brutal than 100 people dying in a chaotic incident. Let's see. Guy whose country was occupied calls others resisting an occupation terrorists. If you're wondering why Palestinians are rising up all of a sudden, it's probably got a lot to do with this. Network uncovered, predictable outcome of decades of oppression and illegal occupation. If you're expecting the media to cover this uprising fairly and so on, Palestine flag. I uncovered a network of hundreds of former Israeli spies. Incredible watching all these Western politicians. Look, this is it. The guy, I just went back to search his tweets from October 7, and there is no single condemnation, no single shock in response to what Hamas did. On the contrary, as soon as it happens, he starts supporting Hamas. And Hamas on that day committed the most brutal atrocities, which we went there and saw. And this guy, this bastard, he is really coming in here and saying, the IDF just committed one of the worst massacres in modern history. This is the kind of people that we're dealing with.
Yeah. In fact, we can't even think about anything in modern history as bad as this massacre.
Yeah. Nothing at all. Not even something that happened in World War II or anything like that. No.
At least he got those maps correct.
Man. These are the kind of people that we're dealing with. You know, people who have no integrity,
Compulsive liars.
compulsive liars. Exactly. Only hate and nothing else. I'm still here asking for evidence. I'm still here waiting for evidence, and I will open it right here and look at it. Where is the damn evidence?
It's in your face. Hey, you know what I realized?
What?
I was about to fall asleep, and then I realized these guys. We keep thinking we call these guys anti-Semites, and yet when we actually look at what they say, they're holding Jews to a much higher standard than they hold anyone else in the world, right? Like Muslim countries can go slaughter tens of thousands of people. You don't hear a peep out of it. As soon as Jews do it, it's what are you doing? That's wrong and immoral. So Muslims are holding Jews to a higher standard than they hold themselves. The entire world holds Jews to a massively higher standard, like 2 to 1. 2 to 1 is actually a pretty decent civilian to fighter ratio in terms of the history of war and the type of war that they're fighting, and yet they're blasted for it. They're condemned for what, if anyone else were doing, it would be considered a pretty good ratio there. So they're held to this like insanely high standard that no one can live up to. And so it's like, I'm starting to think that the people aren't actually anti-Semites. They're like disgruntled Jewish supremacists, right? Like they view Jews as superior. They all view Jews as superior to themselves, and they're angry about it. And so it's a weird situation.
I know they acknowledge, or they believe that Jews are superior. They believe that Jews are better than everyone else. So they just can't accept Jews to do anything that is remotely bad. That's very interesting stuff, man. Very, very interesting stuff. These Jewish supremacists. Nuttis says, my jizya payment, Mr. Prophet, please don't jihad after me again. Well, not today. Tomorrow I might have to go on a hunt again. But at least for today, you have saved yourself from my wrath. Thank you for this jizya. Thank you. It is always nice to see you here. Very, very nice. The Sahih Muskris said, David always late SMH. Yeah, David, this is what David does. That's what they do. I specifically wanted to come here on time and go live on time to be here because I respect schedules and all that. Terrible.
Urinating upon one another.
That's what they do.
Capable said, get the amazing atheist on the live stream instead of David. Amazing atheist? Is that guy still alive?
Does he still exist? Hey, side note, learn to spell atheist.
Atheist. Wasn't that guy like around like 25 years ago or something?
Yeah. It's interesting. Some of the people who were popular in like 2008 just couldn't adapt. I don't know why, but
Yeah. Terrible stuff. Oh, here's Cenk Uygur said, if the 104 Palestinians slaughtered by the IDF as they were desperately trying to get food didn't break your heart, you probably don't have one left. And I said, dear Cenk Uygur with 0% votes, can you provide evidence that the IDF killed 104 people? And I'm looking through the comments.
Dark Lightning said the IDF admitted it.
Well. Yes, apparently the IDF admitted it. Oh, how could I miss this? Oh, no, how could I miss this?
Isn't it interesting? You could just make up anything. You could say, nope, Hamas admitted that it was all a lie. Where? Well, they did. That's all you have to do.
Well, you know what, David?
Muhammad admitted that it was false. Muhammad did. I saw it.
You know what, David? Hamas actually admitted that the death toll, the count of dead people in this war is not 30,000, it is 60,000, and they were all killed by Hamas.
Yeah.
Hamas actually admitted that.
He did. You and me both heard it, and as long as we can tweet it, then it's true.
Yeah. So you heard it here first. It's actually 60,000 dead in Gaza, and they were all killed by Hamas. It's true. Well, do you have proof that this is not true? That's how it works. Just Gaming Entertainment said, honestly, it looked like a zombie apocalypse. can't say that.
Yeah, I said that. I said it looks like something from World War Z. It looks like the fast-moving zombies rather than the slow-moving zombies.
Yeah, yeah. It's very racist of you to say. Israeli fire. Gaza health authorities say Israeli fire kill. This is the funny thing. Here, Reuters article says Gaza health authorities say
So
Israeli fire
Hamas.
killed
So
103
Hamas, right?
Right. So it's Hamas. Meanwhile, Palestinian witnesses say to the BBC that the deaths were caused by trucks running them over. And the IDF publishes footage of drone footage. And you know what the funny thing is? When the IDF published the drone footage, people got angry. Let me show you this. This guy here.
Was that the guy who was saying they're dehumanizing them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The IDF felt comfortable posting this because they have dehumanized Palestinians to such a degree that they thought it would make them look like the good guys. I'm sorry. So you make accusations against Israel that Israel is committing a massacre here. Israel then says, no, we're not. Here is the footage. And they're like, well, look at this. They're posting this footage and thereby dehumanizing Palestinians.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw another it was from that Owen Jones dude. He shared it, and the guy was saying, they deliberately make them look like ants to dehumanize them.
That's how you view it, and then think that they are making it look like that. If you look at that and think these look like ants, you shouldn't blame that on the IDF, right? That's so stupid. But really, it's like the IDF posts evidence. Is like, guys, we didn't do any of this. Here's the footage, and they're like, how dare you post footage? This is dehumanizing. How do you even? I don't know. Leggy Buddy Guyon made a super chat of $100. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. This will make sure that we can cover more stuff and also buy a Bugatti and join Andrew Tate's what was it called again? War Room. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. I can tell the man at the Western Wall was a Cohen, descendant of the temple priest. He said, God bless you and keep you. God make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. God lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. It is a blessing you deserve. Oh. That's, yeah. I didn't, I don't remember all the words, but that sounds legitimate. That sounds right. This is about those two religious people at the Western Wall who, when they asked us where we are from, and I told them we are here from America, here to support Israel, the guys became like very, very grateful and said lots of things.
Side note, you shouldn't use that for the War Room. You should just do the PhD program.
Oh yeah.
You get a pimp and hose degree. That's a money-making machine by itself.
Oh yeah. Well, I have to check with Andrew Tate.
And then if you do that for a while, you can do that for years, and then Candace Owens will do an interview with you and defend you.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile, she will bash Mia Khalifa for being a former porn actress, and then praise me for being a current exploiter of porn and of people. That's just like Candace Owens. Let me see. Let me quickly send Andrew Tate a message here to ask him where I can. Oh no! Oh,
what man?
This is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What am I going to do now? How am I going to continue from here? This is ridiculous, man.
Now you'll never be a top G.
I will never be a top G, but maybe I can get in touch with Candace Owens and say, God, what is this, man? Not getting anywhere today. Anyway, whatever. This is the situation. I'm being blocked.
Maybe you should stop correcting people, and then you wouldn't have this problem. Just cheer them on and mindlessly agree with anything they say. What the heck?
I'm just not good enough for these people. That's why they block me. They know that I'm not good enough for them. That's why they block me. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. Oh, wait a minute. So Destiny is supposed to have a debate with Norman Finkelstein and together with Benny Morris, who is a serious scholar. I don't know if that happened. Let's see. That took place today, I think, and it's supposed to be on Lex Friedman's channel. But I think it hasn't been published yet. It's probably going to be published soon. But Destiny just made a tweet on this where he said, Norm Twinklestein is easily one of the most unserious people I've ever had the misfortune of speaking with. I hope his reading comprehension improves in the future. It's sad that he brags about reading so much when he's apparently only capable of thinking in single quotes. We must have spent literally 2 hours of this convo based with Norm trying to cite Benny's own quotes from his own books at him, constantly misunderstanding the context or what he was even saying, and acting smugly about it the entire time. Unreal.
Shocker.
It sounds like that went really well.
Hey, look at Jake Shields. Proud to support genocide.
Oh, yeah. Proud to be Israeli, proud to support genocide. Well.
Wait, isn't that the guy you who said he'd debate you and then backed out like a little punk?
Yes, that's him. That's him. Jake Shields. Jake Shields accepted a debate challenge from me. Said, I will debate you if you can find a big platform. And
which took like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then in 10 minutes, I got contacted by Timcast, and they said, hey, Tim Pool can host it. And then he was suddenly gone. And I tried to get a hold of him.
And what did he start saying? Well, how much am I getting paid for this? How much am I getting paid?
I'm not getting paid, and I have to travel very far to debate you, so therefore I'm not interested in this debate anymore. What a giant baby, man. I mean,
yep.
Look, all respect, the guy's fit. If we went into a physical fight, he would probably knock the crap out of me easily. But that's not what we're doing, right? We're
not if I was there to have your back, AP.
Probably, yeah. You might be right about that. But we are here in the war of opinions. And there, I'm sorry to say, Jake Shields, you're a giant coward. You are a coward.
You've been humiliated.
Loser. You're a coward. What an embarrassment, man. What an absolute embarrassment.
I mean, how clear can you make it? Because it would be one thing if the topic of debate came up and he's like, look, man, I'm a fighter, I'm not a debater, I'm not into any of that. But he's like, yes, get I want a big platform, and then we'll see. And then you say, okay. And then, oh no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to travel because I'm not getting paid. Then it's like, how clear could you make it that you're a grifter? Like, you're using all this to get paid.
Look at that. This is what he does. Like, he backs out of a debate that he agreed to on stuff that he talks about all the time, and then he just goes and harasses some woman because she says, I'm proud to be Israeli. Like,
yeah, picking on the woman there, eh, Jakey? Don't let those women don't let them give you any lip there, Jake.
That's how courageous he is here. That's how brave he is. That's Jake Shields right there. What an embarrassment. Leather Strap on Pleasure Machine said in a super chat, are you interested in us sponsoring this show? We would like to showcase our newest products, the Aisha 5000 and the Super Goat version 2. That sounds very good.
This is having vibes similar to the Only Goats channle.
Yeah, that is very, 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 very true. Very true. Very true. I'm quickly just looking on the side for evidence as we speak, since people are trying to send me evidence, but apparently there still is no evidence. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?
Where's the proof?
Why can I not see the evidence? The funniest thing is you ask for evidence and then people start insulting you and calling you names and making cartoons about you and stuff like that. Yeah, great. Thank you. Totally point proven, man. Point totally proven.
Based.
That's scores killed trying to get food from an aid convoy during a chaotic scene in Gaza. Some sources, like surprisingly NPR, try to keep it factual here and not even include the claims that Israel opened fire and that this caused the stuff. And then these people are like, well, how dare you say it was just chaos? It was a massacre. It's like, if you have some journalistic integrity, these anti-Zionist people get incredibly angry because they want you to just make claims against Israel as much as you can without even the need to prove anything. That's how they are.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, like why can't anyone just do any of this, right? So I can say without any evidence, and I could just say Muhammad banged goats.
He did.
Yeah, he banged goats. He banged them all day. In fact, all his wives were actually goats. They lied about it in the Muslim sources, and they pretended they're human beings, but they're actually all goats. He married a goat named Aisha. He married a goat named Zainab. He married a goat named a rich, wealthy widow goat named Khadija. He married all. They're all goats. I could just say things, right? That's how the world works. You could just make things up, right? Anyway.
Yeah. That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
This is still one of my favorite things here. I just stopped on this because people are talking about it. Just to give some context here, people often post these images and say, "Look, they say there was no Palestine, but this clearly shows there is Palestine back then." The coin here in question is from the British Mandate of Palestine. The British Mandate of Palestine had its own currency, had its own coins printed. The British Mandate of Palestine kept this region under the laws of the League of Nations, which is the how do you say that word?
What, precedent? What?
Predecessor? Whatever.
Predecessor? Is that what you're saying?
Predecessor.
Oh,
yeah,
predecessor to the UN. Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
to the UN, exactly. And their mission was to establish countries or nation states in regions that they took over from an empire, like the Ottoman Empire. And since this land was named Palestina by the Romans in order to suppress the Jewish, revolts and sentiments, the people in this region also later adopted the name Palestine and started calling themselves Palestinians, although they were not a nation or a people named Palestinians. So this was a British thing, and this was a British mandate. So posting pictures of a British coin saying Palestine on it is not a good point for the whole pro-Palestine propaganda project. On the contrary, it says here Palestine in Arabic, Palestine. It says it here again in Hebrew. And you know what it says right here? Right here. These are the two letters, Aleph and Yud. And they are an abbreviation for Eretz Yisrael. Means,
you see, it's Yisrael, not Israel. I've heard that one too.
Yeah, which literally means land of Israel.
Yeah, we need to make like something really short that is the basics of the basics, because people still do not. This is not hard. Like, guys, so the Roman Empire conquers Israel in AD 70. The people were still there. In the 2nd century, you had the Bar Kokhba rebellion, and that's when the Romans really just completely crushed them and started deporting massive numbers of the population to keep them from rebelling again. So it was under Roman control. The Romans eventually converted to Christianity, so that ended up under the control of the Byzantines. Then Caliph Umar shows up, conquers the land. Then Muslims eventually destroy the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This sets off the Crusades. Crusaders take it back. Then Muslims take it back from Crusaders. And you go all the way down until this is just a tiny part of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire sides with the teams up with the Germans in World War I. They get defeated. So the Ottoman Empire was at that point, since they'd been defeated, was under the control of the British and the French. The British controlled this land. There was never a Palestinian state. It was a small part of the Ottoman Empire. Then it was controlled by the British. Then after World War II, they're figuring out what to do with the land because the British want to get out of there. There are Jews in the area. There are Muslims in the area. There are Christians in the area. The Jews have a pretty compelling case. Wait a minute. These guys right here, some of these guys, this Grand Mufti guy, they're actually conspiring with Hitler to completely wipe us out. Please don't leave us under their control. We kind of need a spot of our own where we can defend ourselves and not be under the control of the guys who are conspiring with Hitler to massacre us. That seemed very reasonable. And so we'll have this part of the land under the control of Jews and this part of the land under other people's control and so on. And we'll divide it up that way. Everyone declares war on Israel and Israel wins. And that sort of leads into recent events. And then for a propaganda campaign, people invent the concept that there's a group called the Palestinians, some identity Palestinians, and they had their state, and the Jews came in and stole. It's all complete nonsense, fabricated for political agenda. And now you've got millions and millions of morons spreading complete nonsense on Twitter.
All of that was very nice, David, but that was way too long. In order to make it more accessible and understandable for the average population that posts dumb things like these, you have to say all of that in TikTok length, and
or in a tweet length, or like a regular tweet, not the extended version.
Yeah, but you can't type it because you can't read. So you have to make it.
Can I draw it? I'll draw it with a Sharpie. Will that help you?
It has to be a very short video. It's like entertainment videos for 20 seconds are durable. They could watch that. They could, they can actually take that in. But if it's information like that, you have to put it into a very short video, maybe like a 5-second video, 10-second video, or something like that. Make it very, very simple so that these people can actually take it in and understand what we're talking about. That's how you reach the pro-Palestine crowds. That's how they are. That's what they do. And unfortunately, this is very difficult for us because we are highly intelligent people and we don't know how to relate to these lowly people. That's what David would say. I would never say something like that. Yep. So what else, David? What else is going?
Someone just asked who paid for the gold and the gold roof on the Dome of the Rock. I researched that for my video on the Dome of the Rock, which should be up tomorrow. But that was King Hussein of Jordan, if I recall. I don't think I said that in the video.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, used to, because we all think of it as like this awesome place, but that was recent. That was 20th century that they made it gold. It was lead before that. The original was wood. Interesting.
Like David
Wood based
David.
The original dome in the Dome of the Rock was David Wood.
Hey, this is a funny meme. I should make videos just reviewing memes here. How Europeans think Americans sleep. How Americans actually sleep.
That's funny.
Nate, no, bro. Alan made it appear that this happened. Oh yeah, that's what Alan does. That's what Alan does all the time.
You're hiding, boy. You're hiding.
Okay, good. I wanted to test that sound, see if it works. Jesse says one simply cannot see what Islam is unless one has seen what Islam does. And why do they have? I look at that profile picture, David.
Oh, nice. Aisha Bar.
Mr. Mag, I know you were on time because you know it's 3 a.m. in Israel. I know. I should probably find better times for streaming to have more people from Israel. Yeah. Megan says D Wood spending his shekels on Stanley tumblers. What is that? I don't know what that. I didn't even know what that is. David also doesn't know what that is. See? You see?
It's drink holders. What?
Really? That's weird. Hey, look at this. Palestinian Authority guy says, I am no fan of Hitler, but he perpetrated the Holocaust for obvious reasons.
Hey, anytime someone starts off a sentence with "I am no fan of Hitler, but," get ready for some Nazi stuff.
That was a meme, wasn't it? Like years ago. Like, I'm not a Nazi, but it's like, yeah.
It's like when someone says, "I'm not a racist, but," some racist stuff is coming.
Yeah. Let's see what he says.
أكثر من شخصية أوروبية وأمريكية وعربية قالت إن قيام إسرائيل بمهاجمة الفلسطينيين في رفح سيشكل جريمة لا تقل عن جريمة الهولوكوست.
I'm pretty sure nobody said that. Why did the Holocaust?
لماذا حدثت الهولوكوست؟ أنا لا أحب هتلر.
All right, yeah, we already know where this is going. And I'm not a fan of Hitler.
His paintings were not good. Everything else, though.
ليس حبيبي هتلر، ولكن هتلر عندما قام بالهولوكوست كان بأسباب واضحة أن اليهود والصهيونية العالمية قد خيروا بين أماكن مختلفة من العالم في الأرجنتين وفي أوغندا وفي شمال
See, when I see stuff like this, it's just this is no surprise to me at all. These people say dumb, stupid, vile things like these all the time. Okay, this is not a unique incident. They say stuff like this all the time. You hear stuff like this all the time throughout Arab culture and Muslim countries. But then we have leftist progressives in the West who are like, everyone I don't like is a Nazi, and then they are completely detached from how these pro-Palestine or Palestinians think. These guys justify the Holocaust or deny the Holocaust, believe Jews are evil, that Jews are naturally evil, and so on. And then there are these socialist leftist morons in the West who are like, this is a human rights issue.
سيناء وفي جنوب العراق ولكنهم اختاروا فلسطين لأسباب أخرى قد نذكرها وكانوا يخططوا أن يسيطروا على
You see, they plan to take control of Germany.
This was literally the thing, the reasoning given by Hitler and the Nazis, that if the trajectory continues as it is, then the Jews will take control of Germany. So we have to stop them. They are already controlling other European nations, and if we allow them, then soon there will be no Germany left. There will be no Europeans left because the Jews are taking control and destroying everything. That's why we have to destroy them first. That's literally what Hitler said. Like that. Eventually, all of it leads to a fight between the Jews and the Aryan people, and such a fight can only conclude with the extermination of the Jews. Those are his words. That's literally the Nazi rhetoric. And this guy here is going on here and presenting precisely what the Nazis said, as if it was like, totally normal, totally logical.
It's also similar to what Douglas Murray said when he was talking about, when the Jews were poor, we hated them for being poor. When they were rich, we hated them for being rich. When they didn't integrate, we hated them for not integrating. When they integrated, we hated them for integrating. But he also said when they were stateless, we hated them for being stateless. And when they had a state, we hated them for having a state. But when they don't have a state, then you're saying, look, they're parasitic. They don't have their own place. They're parasites and they're trying to take over. And then, okay, well, then now they have their own state. Now, no, we have to destroy that state. It's a weird situation when no matter what you do, you could do the exact you do one thing and people will condemn you for it. You do the exact opposite and they'll condemn you for it. And that shows that it doesn't matter what you do. People just hate you.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Yeah. Hitler literally said, if the trajectory continues as it is.
That's pretty weak, man. You're getting good at some impressions, but that was not.
I usually don't practice.
It's like this. If the trajectory continues as it is.
Anyway, I don't want to get into this now. So once again, my favorite topic. I was going to talk about it for a long time, but I realized, yes, I could keep my personal interests and hobbies aside and focus on the topic as much as I like to talk about Hitler's speeches. Nate said, when leather straps approaches any of them, they cry, my anus, let me go back so I may pass wind. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
Beatrice said, to any Jew watching this, most of the Brazilian population stands with you. David, I was watching your testimony and I wonder how Randy is doing.
He's all right. He's still locked up.
Alhamdulillah. Amit Yanuka says, hey, I got to the live cause I couldn't fall asleep. You should be sleeping. It's like, isn't it like 3 a.m. Somebody said it earlier. It's 3 a.m. in Israel. But it's also the weekend. Yeah. So that's funny. It works differently. David, in case you didn't know, in Israel, weekends are different. Tonight is the weekend. So, just so you know. Defense
Yeah.
says AP at David Wood must be so happy. All these. Is this?
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we get. That's what we get happy about. Is
Yeah.
this guy just give you a super chat and to say
I
that?
know. It's some dumb idiot actually making a super chat to give us money and put his message out here in order to show to us that we anti-Islamists celebrate death and are happy about it and so on. First off, thank you for the super chat. Secondly, no. Look, listen, from your perspective, it might be completely understandable to celebrate the deaths of others because in your perspective, death is a good thing. It's like it's a great thing. From our perspective, it doesn't work that way, right? I'm not happy when people are killed. I'm not happy when they die. That's how you think. Stop projecting your sick mind and your sick way of thinking on others.
You're sick.
You're sick.
You're sick. You're sick.
Okay, pushed the wrong button for a second.
That's pretty embarrassing. That pretty much ruined the entire show.
Yeah, it did.
This man has real problems.
So sick of the blaming Israel for everything. The only responsible are the Palestinian Hamas, their fake supporters. Even if Israel shoot at people, you want them to stop, release the hostages. It is a war. Terrible things happen during a war, and yeah, Hamas needs to surrender. Not just release the hostages. That's not it. Releasing the hostages is not enough. Hamas needs to unconditionally surrender. It's over for them. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, that's I was just talking to Robert about this. I probably want to make a short video on this, but I mean, think about this. You've got, you have a big terrorist attack, a huge terrorist attack, massive terrorist attack. Given the population of Israel, that was like massively bigger than 9/11 for them.
Mhm.
And instantly everyone starts screaming ceasefire. And then they go into Gaza to hunt down the Hamas terrorists who did this. And they're told ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Think about the takeaway message. Think about the takeaway message, because you got two options basically. One, they could do starting from now. They have two options. One, they could ceasefire. We'll just stop. We've done enough. We've killed a bunch of people, so we'll just let it go now. What message does that send to future generations of terrorists who want to go kill Jews? It's the takeaway message would be, hey, if you go and kill a bunch of our people, just go hide underground long enough, and we'll give up. And you're safe, and you could go kill a bunch more in the future. That would be the takeaway message. Is that a takeaway message that you want? Is that a message you want to send to future generations of terrorists who want to slaughter as many of your people as possible? No, that would be a horrible message to send to them. The alternative message, which is the course they're on now, I don't know if they're going to change course at any point. The course they're on now is they're trying to send a message to future generations of terrorists. If you come and kill our people, we're going to hunt you down. It doesn't matter where you hide. If you hide in a school, we're going to come to the school and find you. If you hide in tunnels, we're going to come into those tunnels and find you. If you go to the moon, you're hiding in a crater, don't pop your head out because there's going to be a IDF sniper scope right on you. That's the message they're sending, which the takeaway is, hey, if terrorists decide to go and kill these guys, they are going to hunt us down. They're not going to give up. They're not going to listen to college students. They're not going to listen to other nations calling for ceasefire. They're not going to listen to any of that. They're not going to stop until we're dead. That sounds like a message that you would want terrorists to get, because it makes it, you do have the people who we love death more than you love life. And I believe that with some of them. If you run out and you are willing to do a suicide bombing, I believe that you are obsessed with death. If you're running and hiding all the time, I don't believe you. And so I think we can say most of these terrorists actually want to survive and live. And if most of these terrorists actually would like to survive, then that it's a pretty good deterrent to let them know you're not going to survive if you attack.
There was a speech that an Israeli politician gave quite recently during this war. Quite recently, maybe weeks ago, and it was very, very harsh. And some on the pro-Palestine side were like, "Look at this! It sounds like genocide." But what she basically said is, "I am proud of what has been done so far. I am proud of the ruins. I am proud of what I see here, because what they did to us on October 7th, we can never forgive them. We can never allow it to happen again. And I want future generations to look back in decades and remember. And I want them to tell each other, this is what the Jews did to us when Hamas when Hamas killed, massacred, and raped their people. This is how it's supposed to happen. And these people are like, oh, that's too extreme. She's being genocidal. She's not being genocidal. She's speaking out what every single one of you guys would think if what was done on October 7th was done to you. She's speaking out things that are significantly softer and significantly more reasonable than what the genocidal animals on the side of Hamas do and say all the time. That woman is right. It must be remembered by future generations that you will never, ever get away after doing such a horrendous thing.
In psychology, this is called traumatic one trial learning.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. Matter of fact, lots of people are familiar with this. If you get food poisoning after you eat something that you haven't eaten before and you end up getting food poisoning, your brain will make that disgusting to you. Like it's revolt. Like this happened to me when I was a little kid. I mean, it wasn't because of the clams, but I went to a clam bag and I ate tons of clams. And then I found a watermelon, but it was spiked. So this thing was spiked I was like 4 or 5. And I ate this entire spiked watermelon, and then I got horribly, horribly sick. But forever, I couldn't stand like the thought of eating clams. They seem disgusting. Your brain actually wires, because the trauma to you of getting this wasn't food poisoning, but this was got really, really sick from eating tons of clams and then a ton of vodka. Then your brain associates that with it, and your brain makes it revolting. You can actually do that to people if they do something horrible, and you make them really seriously traumatized over what they've done. Like their brain develops a resistance to doing that thing in the future. Like it's a horrifying thought to them. And it's kind of, they're trying to get, looks like Israel's trying to condition future generations to do not do this. You don't even want to think about doing that. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah, here it is. I don't remember exactly what she says. It's very, very harsh, I know, especially from the way she speaks. But I see these people crying about it. And some people are saying, stop crying. There's nothing wrong about what she said. But so this is Israeli Minister May Golan. Let's see.
תקשיב טוב, אדון גיס 50, מר כסיף, לא אתה ולא השותפים שלך שמגנים עליך מבית ומבחוץ, מזיזים לנו כהוא זה. הממשלה הזו לא מגמגמת לגביך, אתה יכול להמשיך לחלום שנסיים את הלחימה ללא ניצחון. אנחנו לא מתביישים לומר שאנחנו רוצים לראות את חיילי צה"ל הגיבורים והקדושים שלנו תופסים את סינואר והמחבלים שלו באוזניים וגוררים אותם בכל הרצועה בדרך למרתפי שב"ס, אבל שב"ס של בן גביר, לא של בר-לב או מיכאלי.
She's addressing the left-wing people, by the way, who are calling for an early, not a full, reaching of the goal of eradicating Hamas. And she's like, no, we're not doing that. We're going through with this. But dragging Sinwar by his ears through the Gaza Strip. That's
how come you didn't interview this chick while you're over there? Well, you could ask her questions. You're like, what? Why don't you just get a ceasefire and just let her flip out?
Don't call her a chick. She's a serious politician and minister of something in the Knesset.
או במקרה הכי טוב לארון קבורה כזה או אחר. אני אישית גאה בהריסות של עזה, ושכל תינוק, גם עוד 80 שנה מהיום, יספר לנכדיו מה עשו היהודים שרצחו להם משפחות, אנסו אותם וחטפו להם אזרחים. אתה והחברים שלך יכולים לחלום.
That's the part that is like, that pushed people off the edge here. He says, I am personally proud of the ruins of Gaza. And that every baby, even in 80 years from now, will tell their grandchildren what the Jews did when their families were murdered and raped and their civilians were kidnapped.
Pretty brutal.
But hey, if you don't have a problem with what Hamas did, why would you have a problem with this?
Yeah, and that's
This
the thing. It's
sounds like the most base thing I've heard in my life so far.
given their history over there, they understand what they're dealing with a lot more than Westerners understand, than the rest of the people in the West understand what they're dealing with.
Yeah,
They're dealing with people who only understand being crushed. They do not understand anything else.
Yeah. Somebody, wait a minute. London Low made a super chat earlier and said I have to find it. I just accidentally clicked it away, but that was very, very important. It was
Shameful.
very important. How dare I lose that? How dare I lose sight of that?
Not
okay.
based. Not
Okay, that was
based.
that was actually somebody else. It was Cars in Depth. Cars in Depth said, "Please say hi to my daughter Tova. She's a fan." Hi,
Tova.
I hope that was
You heard
good.
it. You heard it here.
You heard it here first. Hi, Tova. All right. I hope that's good enough. Crusader General said, "Free Palestine from Muslims." Why are we talking about fabric now? What is this? Raisin Bread said, "David, can you speak about the..." Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to finish this video.
אני אישית גאה בהריסות של עזה, ושכל תינוק, גם עוד 80 שנה מהיום, יספר לנכדיו מה עשו היהודים שרצחו להם משפחות, אנסו אותם וחטפו להם אזרחים. אתה והחברים שלך יכולים לחלום שנאפשר לכם לבנות ממשלה, כי אם אתם חושבים שהפרס על שחיטת יהודים, אונס נשים, עריפת ראשים וחטיפת אזרחים יהיה לקבל לשבת בממשלת שינוי, אתה חולם. תצעקו עד מחר שלום עכשיו ובחירות עכשיו, מקפלן ועד עזה שישמעו אתכם. לנו יש משימה, אני מסיימת, והדבר האחרון שניתן לכם הוא שעופר כסיף יעלה להר הבית עם דגל פלסטין, וסינואר יהיה שר הביטחון של המדינה הפלסטינית כמו אחיו ערפאת. לא יונה ולא עלה של זית, רק חרב לערוף לסינואר את הראש, זה מה שהוא יקבל מאיתה.
Not a dove, not an olive branch, only a sword to cut off Sinwar's head.
Ouch.
That's what he will receive from us.
Ouch.
She is brutal. Wow. She is brutal. That's wow. That's amazing. Pfft. Go cry. It's the best thing I've heard. It's pretty good. I wish somebody was defending me in such a time the way that she defended the people, the victims. That's what you get. Raisin Bread said, "David, can you speak about the reason for misogyny in Islam from a Christian perspective? Why are Eastern cultures so hateful toward women?"
If you're talking about from a specifically Christian perspective, if I were to give it from a Christian perspective, I would say men and women are created in the image of God, and there are spiritual forces at work that attempt to degrade the image of God. And one way to do that is misogyny. And so I view it as there's a spiritual component to it, and Islam just ramps that up because you do have the forces of darkness at work there. But also, Islam is just obsessed with controlling everyone. It's obsessed with controlling Muslims. It's obsessed with controlling non-Muslims. It's obsessed with controlling women and so on. And so as soon as you have, notice what they do with us, right? They try to control what we say, and they'll do anything. They'll try 50 different things, one after another. The moment we say anything they don't like, they want to control how we live. They want to control what we say. And so when we get out of line, they come after us, and all they know are insults and abuse and violence. And of course, it's the same thing for women. The sad part is women in that culture very frequently are not in a position to defend themselves the way we can mouth off back to them. If you're a woman in Saudi Arabia and you decide to hey, you don't control me, and you're in a pretty rough spot. So anyway, that would be a rough overview.
That sounds like Star Wars.
You sound like Star Wars.
Oh yeah, just looked her up. Mangolan, Minister for Social Equality and the Advancement of the Status of Women in Israel. Wow. That's her role in the government.
Status of women in Israel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow,
This chick's based.
pretty good stuff. Very, very based. Very based. D Badro, hey, D is still here, still a member for many years now. Always good to see you here. Delivering food. Israel is terrible at genocide. I know, right? That's the thing. Like they're like, come on, okay, send more trucks. We're gonna let them through. Gonna allow them to go there. We're gonna make sure everything goes well. Doing that all the time. Make a humanitarian corridor. Deliver all the food, and something goes wrong, and people are killed. No genocide. Really, man? Do you think that's how genocide goes?
Yeah, I tweeted earlier, the genocide's been going on for, it's dumb. Some Muslims, just because I said Israel's been doing genocide for 75 years, some Muslims retweeted that. You can check it out. I was making fun of the claim. I said, so Israel's been carrying out a genocide for 75 years, and yet the population of Gaza has one of the highest population growth rates in the world. They're among the top couple as far as the population growing. And so if the result of 75 years of Israeli genocide is one of the highest population growth rates in the world, that is the absolute worst genocide ever. Because you can look at other genocides. Look at the Nazi genocide. The population of Jews globally plummets. Look at the population of Armenians after the Armenian genocide. It plummets. And somehow this one genocide, it means, like, what are you genociding them with? Freaking fertilizers? Is that what you're doing? Anyway.
Yeah. They know that overpopulation is bad for them, which is why they're trying to make them increase in population. That's literally genocide.
Yeah.
Alex L says,
"Hey, that would be a funny plot. It's like,
yeah,
well, we don't want to actually kill them. We'll pour fertilizer on them, and then they'll multiply until they're two-packed and they all die."
Yeah, that should be a new conspiracy theory. Yeah. That Israel has been trying to genocide Palestinians by making them multiply and grow in population because they know it's eventually bad for them. So that makes sense. That's what the Jews do. Alex L says, I'm Jewish and I hate Hamas and I know Islam is fundamentally anti-Semitic. I support Israel. At the same time, I am worried about Gazan civilians right now. I'm too. When you think about it,
Yep.
put yourself in the position. It's a very, very bad situation.
Yeah,
Of course.
it is. It's a terrible situation. And there are Christians in Gaza. There are Muslims who want nothing to do with this in Gaza. There are Muslims who condemn Hamas in Gaza and are exposing Hamas for stealing all the food and aid that's being sent there and so on. So I have no ill will towards any of these people and want nothing but the best for them. I'm just convinced that things never, ever improve for the people of Gaza until Hamas is completely destroyed. I don't think there's any hope of a future for the people there as long as Hamas is in power. And so when I look at that and people start yelling ceasefire, like if you're thinking very, very superficially, that can make sense. Look at all this violence. Look at all these people dying. Ceasefire. Okay, long term, that's disastrous for everyone there. That is disastrous for everyone involved if you do not stop these guys. And so the scenario I would love to see, I'm not going to see this. I would love to see Hamas surrender, hand over the hostages, turn themselves in. That is the best, absolute best case scenario for everyone involved. You're not going to see that. You could have Israel keep going until Gaza is forced to surrender. That's going to be a much bloodier affair than Hamas just surrendering. But I think that's the next best option. Well, a terrible option is just ceasefire and Hamas regrouping. And AP, didn't Hamas say that? Hasn't Hamas been announcing that they're going to keep doing this? They're going to keep doing these attacks here. So what's the result of a ceasefire? Hamas regroups, attacks again. Israel goes after them again. Like it doesn't end the way people are saying.
Well, but if you are good and if you don't want to be genocidal, then you have to allow Hamas to commit terrorist attacks over and over and over again. That's how it works. And it's quite self-explanatory, to be honest. Don't you think?
Yep.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Hey, someone said this chanting free Palestine really refers to Palestine is for free, but no one wants to grab the freebie. That would actually be amusing if someone said free Palestine. You'd be like, oh, I'll take two.
So Mossab Hassan Youssef said, "Dear American friends, we should not take Hamas bait. These savages don't value life, and they are against our freedoms and our way of life."
You got a pretty good Mossab Hassan Youssef impression there.
I don't know if it's good. I'm trying.
It's
First
okay.
time
It's
right
pretty.
now.
It's all right.
Their objective was never a political state or a territory. Instead, they wanted to globalize their hateful ideology, spread chaos and confusion, divide our society, challenge our values, turn us against each other, and destroy our great America from within.
Is great America?
Yeah. I just wanted to make an impression of him. I'm not really reading this for the content of the text. I just wanted to do a Mossab Hassan Youssef impression. I don't even know what I just said because I was just paying attention to the performance, honestly. And may God bless the United States of America. And I choose the cow. That's what he says. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Next, knows too much says just another blood libel. In my opinion, it's immoral to give aid to an enemy that wants to genocide you and put your own soldiers at risk in the process. That is correct, but there is a population here. There is a civilian population living there, and they have to receive aid. Israel did put a complete blockade on Gaza after October 7th. To do a full siege of Gaza. So it is technically in their hands right now whether the population receives food and basic goods from them or not. Israel is taking care of it. They are giving humanitarian aid. Could they do it differently? Probably. And they are trying to figure out different ways to do it, like airdropping, which they have been doing.
The idea behind something like that is, if you're dropping aid to a country and the country, place, whatever that wants to kill you, it's the same thing with Yemen. Like,
Yemen,
supporting people in Yemen, knowing that you got Houthis there and so on. You have terrorists, but you also have lots of people who have nothing to do with this. The decision was made for them by other people. But the idea is, some of that aid is going to get in the hands of people who want to kill you, but some of that's going to get into the hands of kids and stuff like that who don't know any better. And so you basically do the math and say, okay, it's worth it to keep some of these people from starving, even if people who want to kill me are getting some of it too.
Yeah. Somebody said, AP, did you join Christian Prince's Discord? Somebody is using your ID. I didn't. I don't regularly use Discord, and I didn't do that, so it's definitely not me.
That's funny. Over there, probably talking mad trash, and everyone's ticked off at you.
Yeah. Probably like, what are you guys doing here? Who the hell is Christian Prince? I am the real deal. It's not even me.
You remember Dave Chappelle? He said he tried to get on Twitter and someone already had the account name, so he couldn't get on. And then the fake account started arguing with Cat Williams, and then it started this big beef. And then he talked to Cat Williams, a person who's like, "Cat, I'm not on Twitter, man. It wasn't me." And Cat's like, "I'm not on Twitter either." So it's all fake, and then it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Hamas steals 70% of the AIDS. Yeah. Hamas has AIDS. Lord Stannis said, can you watch Naftali Bennett on Piers Morgan this week? He says something very interesting about Hamas's Islamic justification for October 7th. I can do that. I shall do it. I might even do a live stream tomorrow in the morning. And it's especially the best time to do it since David is not there. I could do that, and I might review a few things. I wanted to review some other stuff on there as well. Maybe it's time to get back into reviewing Piers Morgan stuff. Is tomorrow Friday? Oh, tomorrow's Friday. That's funny. Yeah.
Hey, the old city of Jerusalem that we're in is interesting because Friday, the Muslim stuff shuts down. And then on Saturday, actually late Friday night, but on Saturday, then the Jewish stuff's all shut down. Then on Sunday, all the Christian stuff is shut down. So it's basically Friday through Sunday stuff is shut down.
That's so funny how that works. how that works. Very, very interesting stuff. Knows too much, said people mistake mercy for morality. Mercy towards evil is just supporting evil. It's immoral. The merciful and the cruel are cruel to the merciful. I agree partially. Oh yeah, Michelle said Destiny was on Pierce. I saw that. They talked mostly about stuff that I don't really care about, I think. Trump and politics related stuff, but they also briefly talked about
blue hair.
but they also briefly talked about the conflict, and I did want to have a look at that a little bit. D-Minosov, David prepares for a live stream, peace everywhere, Christian. AP prepares for a live stream, hundreds dead, atheist. Draw your own conclusion. This is a good point.
Got a point. Very good point.
This is a good point. Omar Lukovic said, is Apostate Prophet Jewish? Depends on how you define Jewish.
I'll let this be the answer. It'd be funny to wear them on top.
Yeah.
That's the new style.
The new. Look at that. Who would have thought that Team America World Police was so accurate? Yeah, exactly. I don't know much about it, but yes. Talmudic Tunnel Construction Inc. Hey, thank you so much for all the work you guys are doing and all the Talmudic tunnels that you have built so far. Says, disgruntled Jewish supremacist is a fun band name.
DJS. DJS coming to a city near you.
Jill's Bean says, they can't be anti-Semitic since RDF are Palestinian. Yeah, that's true. How could taters block you? That's genocide. It is literally ethnic cleansing and genocide combined. Atakan, y'all say Mo was dumb. He got brains to create a system that expand by unalive and enslave, and you can't quit for question for 1,400 years. Can you elaborate, please? He wasn't dumb. He was just crazy. His followers were dumb back then. Just to clarify, I mean back then, his initial followers. Blue Moon says, Tate and Owens blocked you. What a bunch of losers. These two brave, free speech, smart, high moral people can't handle other opinions. Well, Andrew Tate is scared, and Kenneth Owens is just very dumb. So they block people for different reasons, I have to say. Vaming Xiong says, the Jews will withhold David Wood's check for being late. Inshallah, they shall. So they shall. The Sahih must Christian Muslims, it's okay not to lie. A Jew in Trenholm made a super sticker. Appreciate it very, 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 very much. Very, very, very much. Big muscles don't mean you're tough, says other guy Joe. That's true. That's true. In a way. Moose Wolves have Max Blumenthal on. He's
the muscles certainly help, though.
They do. They make you strong, but not tough. They make you hard, but not tough. That sounds pretty bad. Moose Wolves says
they don't hurt. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Moose Wolf says, have Max Blumenthal on. He's best to break this down. A secular Turkish American who didn't let resentment turn me.
I don't trust Turkish people at all. Turkish Americans, especially secular Turkish Americans. It's like trifecta of ignorance.
Max Blumenthal. Why in the world would I have Max Blumenthal on? Like the guy's. He shouldn't even be known.
The name Max. The name Max is cool though, because if you tack it onto the right name, it sounds like you're the maximum version of it. You know?
But there are two Max Blumenthals, and the one that I know right now that is being talked of right now very much is the one that who is very much an anti-Israel propagandist dude. If that's who you're talking about, then no. I would just have to say,
how about no?
As Meatball became a member, welcome to the club, and you are now a member of the cult, and you will never be allowed to escape. Mother Queen said, Apostate Mommy, hey, that's beautiful, look at that. Mother Queen Apostate Mommy made a super chat and said, hi AP, David Wood, jizya for my 11 and 8-year-old kids, because now they can't stop imitating AP, says Allah in his prophet tales. Protect us for his lamb. Hey, WATS Muslim 146. Which one is that? Sahih Muslim 146. Sahih Muslim 146. Sahih Muslim 146. Verily, Islam started as something strange, and it would again revert into its old position of being strange, just as it started, and it would recede between the two mosques, just as the serpent crawls back into his hole. I heard this when I was a Muslim, that this is a prophecy of the thing is, the interpretation in my rather mysticist circles was that Islam will not eventually shrink in number, literally, but that Islam will not be properly practiced except for very small numbers of people, and that most people will just be completely astray and do whatever they want and all of that. That was the view. But a general view is also that Islam will actually decline in numbers and will become will turn into a group of tiny people, tiny numbers of people, not tiny people. That would be funny though.
That would be funny.
Into tiny numbers of people before everything ends. And hey, I hope that this prophecy is fulfilled. I like this prophecy. Yeah.
I made a video a few years ago talking about a prophecy that was actually fulfilled, but it was when Muhammad said that before the end comes, people are going to be leaving the religion like an arrow that goes out through a game. So you shoot an animal and the arrow just flies out the other side, and that's going to be like people leaving Islam rapidly. And we actually see that. So actually nailed one there.
Alhamdulillah. This is why I believe in Islam now.
Hey, you should be saying, why don't you crawl back into your hole like a snake the way your prophet said you would?
Brutal stuff. Curious Cat, since Owens was mentioned, she did a video on exposing psychology and is going to do one on porn. I wonder if human trafficking is next. Really? Did she? What did she do about that? Let me see. I don't know why I'm keeping up a rhythm here. Candace Owens psychology. Oh, did she do that whole stupid thing about therapy? Is that why people were talking about therapy? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Whatever comes.
Impossible to take her seriously after the whole Andrew Tate thing and defending everything he did and blasting.
After? I don't know, man. I think she was always impossible to take seriously.
I'm not arrogant like you. You're like, oh, she's black and a woman. I can't listen to her. Whereas I'm totally, I have no problem with that stuff. But once you're like defending Andrew Tate, you might as well write moron across your forehead if you're defending that guy.
So you're putting this stuff out there as if we're serious about her being black and a woman.
David Wood admits it. He admits that AP is a racist and a misogynist. He said it right there.
Oops, I've enraged the psychology community, she says, and talks about psychology and therapy and all that. David and I both have some education in psychology, and we both know of the academia in psychology. And I would say that we both can agree that you probably shouldn't take seriously somebody like Candace Owens when it comes to the topic of psychology. Oh man.
Or Andrew Tate.
Yes. Apparently she did a whole thing about how therapy ruins society or ruins men or something like that. Okay, yeah. Good.
Well, depression is
pass that on. Bunch of idiots. Jeremy Block made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate that very, very much. I would always recommend seeking therapy for regular things. It's like going to the doctor. It's basically like going for the doctor for your mind to do a regular checkup. It helps. There is no harm in it at all. It's not like taking your masculinity away in some dumb nonsense like that.
It's funny. You're like, it's not weak. It's like going to the doctor. But my West Virginia side, it's like going to the doctor is for the weak. Just get some duct tape. Tape yourself up.
Put some duct tape on your psychology.
Get some paper towels. Put it on the injury. Wrap some duct tape on there.
Yeah. Mabuhay, AP, and David Wood, have a blessed day. What does this mean in this gibberish language?
Maybe it's my boy.
You're supposed to know this. I think this is Filipino, isn't it?
I don't know, or it's my boy.
My boy.
Yo, what's up, my boy, AP?
My boy, yeah, my boy. I'm sorry for insulting your language, Iris. I was just kidding. I hope you will not report me to the authorities.
Pretty
Wait,
racist. That's funny. It's because right after I pointed out how racist you are, and then this.
Mabuhay means long live and is used as a generic greeting in Filipino in Filipino greeting. Okay. That's nice. I learned something today. See, I learned something today. Wow.
But
Mabuhay to you.
But it's kind of cool because it is like my boy.
My boy.
What's up, my boy? AP and P Wood.
Allah's ex-husband made a super chat. Thank you so much, Allah's ex-husband, and I wish you all the best and hope that you can recover from that terrible experience. Jeremy Block made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very, very much. Allah's ex-husband said, I'm the real reason Allah doesn't have kids. This is true, probably. That's why he's so angry also about it. Lucas Ordonez says, AP, you should add the brother. What's that brother to your soundboard? What is that? What does that sound? I don't know what that is. What's that, brother? I don't know. I have to find out what that is. Hello, Yidi Herzog. With all due respect, if you have a missile in your GD kitchen and you want to shoot it at me, am I allowed to defend myself? A missile is launched from a kitchen onto my children. What he said. Cars in Depth said, I'm not a fan of Hitler, but I choose the cow. Oak Tree, Hitler's fan blows. Get it, his fan. I know. I get it. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I love it. Arya V says, genuine question. Is there any case that you feel could be in favor of Palestine? I'm trying to understand why people support them, but I can't. There is, of course, there is. And you can always appeal to emotion and to human suffering and to compassion, and can make a case for
it's an underdog. People love an underdog story, right? And they don't view Gaza and the West Bank as part of this massive system of Islam with 2 billion adherents, much of which is obsessed with destroying the Jews. They look at it as just this little tiny piece and think, oh, well, look, they're just these poor little defenseless people against this massively more powerful opponent. So people very often will side with the underdog, and so they do have that going for them, as long as
you also have to think about the psyche, the mentality, the perspective of somebody who is, for example, born in Gaza. You see, when you discuss with people online, that most people are completely ignorant of the history and of what has been going on, but especially of the history. And they make all kinds of claims like the Jews came and we took them in and they stole our land. That's so wrong on every single level. It's complete nonsense. But people actually propagate these things not because they want to lie, but because they actually believe that's what happened. They don't know any better. Now imagine you are born in Gaza, you're raised with the brainwashing that Hamas gives you, and raised with the with under those circumstances, you will believe, especially if you are in the middle of the conflict and you don't interact much with the other side and don't talk much to the other side, what you will believe and what you will know and take as a fact is, we guys are just here trying to live in our own country, but those guys came and they stole our land and they oppressed us and this and that. The real facts of the history don't really matter at that point. It's very hard to convince you at that point of how wrong you are and of how it went completely differently. You are indoctrinated with this stuff, and when you grow up with that stuff, you learn to feel extreme resentment and hate and all of that. And once you start channeling that to the others, to the rest of the world, and signaling that you are the victim, you are appealing to people's emotions, and it all gets out of hand.
Yeah, and I have to bolt because I got to go take care of my kid. But yeah, I will go ahead and answer that real quick. If you were there and you grew up and this is true of any place. If you grow up in a certain way and things suck for you, you're in a really bad situation. If you have someone to blame for that bad situation, and it's their fault, your resentment will grow over time, and you will hate those people more and more, and to such an extent that if people just start going over there and massacring them, you'll be cheering for them. And so notice the ongoing problem is, hey, let's say you're in Gaza and you're growing up. Why does stuff suck so much here? Is it because we get all this aid from the world and we elected Hamas, and Hamas just spends it on tunnels and on buying Lamborghinis for their kids in other countries, and that's why stuff sucks so bad? And we keep launching terrorist attacks against people who are massively more powerful than us, and they just blow up our buildings in response? Is that why things suck so bad? No, it's just the Jews. It's just the Jews. Not because of anything you did. It's because of the Jews. And so you could hate them a lot, not realizing, guys, if you weren't obsessed with hating the Jews, you could actually build a very nice functioning society. You just refuse to.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, man. Got a bolt. Catch you all later.
Okay, get out, you weakling.
You're weak. This show's too weak for me, and that's why I leave.
You're finished already. Look at me. You know you're done.
Oh wait, he's already gone. Okay. Well, yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it is. I did talk to somebody recently about what should be happening, because I was playing devil's advocate and saying pretty much that to you the whole thing makes sense. You are justified in your response, but when you think of the other side is brainwashed, and they grow up under circumstances in which they are taught to and raised to hate the Jews and hate Israel and blame it all on them. What are you supposed to do even when you are done with Hamas? Is it really going to solve the situation? Will the next generation really be totally free from the hate and all that and the division? I guess what they need to do, or what Israel will do at that point, is to, once they are rid of Hamas, because Hamas is doing the active brainwashing, which we have all seen on kids shows, for example, they will have to re-educate the population there. That's what they need to do. It's difficult if you actually think about the mental aspect of it. Yeah, I kicked David. I didn't want him here anymore, so I pushed the kick button and kicked him. Just kidding, he just left. It wasn't me. Why are people saying I kicked him? Because I like kicking people? I don't know. Liz, thank you, AP, and DIZZLE, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. DIZZLE is not here anymore, but I'm still here. And always will be. I will never give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna, whatever. Never gonna give you. Astronaut said they bringing those long-range Zabibas to Hummus. Script Kolb made a super chat. Thank you so much. I think I'm gonna leave soon as well. Ida Rogozin, come to Beersheba next time you're in Israel. The actual plan was to stay in Beersheba. My actual plan that I made when we were planning our trip was to land in Tel Aviv and then go to Beersheba and spend some time there, and then go to Jerusalem and then to Tel Aviv. We changed that plan because somebody said, don't go to Beersheba. It will be a waste of time considering all of the stuff that you need to do. And turned out totally right. I would have lost a lot of time had I done that. So we did stay in Jerusalem half the time and in Tel Aviv the other half of the time. And we still didn't get most of the stuff done that we planned, but it was good enough. Have to go again. Mohammed Hijab's chesticle says, free Palestine. Yeah. With the Kuwait flag. Vinny the Pooh, Israel believes in peace, prosperity, and happiness. Hamas believes in death, destruction, and suffering. Draw your own conclusions. Knows too much says Egypt can open their gates and aid their brothers. I know, but you don't want to put yourself in that cruel situation of, saying, well, if no one's going to help them, why would we help them? There are still people on the other side. Miyad, I'm not Muslim, but can clearly see the atrocities taking place in Gaza. The fact that you guys justify this is sickening. World stands with Palestine. Okay, where did you see me justify anything? In fact, where did you see the atrocities taking place? This whole stream is about that incident today and whether it was Israel doing that or not. And I'm still here sitting, still waiting for evidence. And there is nothing out there. You can cry, you can loudly claim that there are atrocities going on. I'm sorry, but they are simply not there. It is pure propaganda. Pure propaganda. Zainab Al Harith made a super sticker. Thank you so much. Zain became a member. Zain also gifted 10 memberships and helped expand the cult. That's very, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why that guy made a super chat. It's like interesting stuff. But yeah, maybe he likes it. Script Colby became a YouTube member. Welcome to the club, and also made a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you for the contribution. This is why I do what I do, because I receive shekels from Israel and Israelis. Otherwise, I don't care at all about human life. Israel, Palestine, I don't care at all. I'm doing this just for the money. So thank you for sending that in and giving me the shekels while Mossad is delaying my paycheck right now. Appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. This helps a lot. Christian says, you may have already mentioned, did you see the apostate prophet is wrong about Israel and Palestine video? Comments were more interesting than the video, in my opinion. That was Apostate Aladdin. He had a live stream, right? He's had a live stream which was titled Apostate Prophet is Wrong About Israel and Palestine. I did not see it. I briefly clicked on it at some point and listened to like 2 minutes of it. And they were basically asking me questions in that live stream that I answered a long time ago. And I don't know. I just thought I don't have time to listen to this. And I thought it was kind of a waste of time, to be honest. I would be interested in listening to what kind of criticism they have about where I'm wrong. But the thing is, the guy has he has my number. He can get in touch with me quickly. He didn't say anything. He just made a live stream about me. And at the beginning of the live stream, he says that he's not an expert. He doesn't know much about the conflict and doesn't have and doesn't want to sit down and deal with the conflict. But then he goes on and judges how I deal with the conflict for 2 hours. Do you see how ridiculous that is? I can't watch that. Always open to criticism, but not like that. Don OC said, would it be ignorant to say I don't support Israel or Palestine? I only support the innocent people who are getting killed. It wouldn't be ignorant. I guess if you want to have that position, it wouldn't be ignorant. It would just be, I don't know, just a choice. I can't say that that's necessarily ignorant. Don't want to judge you for that. I get it. It's a very complicated conflict. It is indeed a very complicated conflict. Chameleon said, David, are you Appalachian? David is indeed, yes, he is. I don't really know, but I will just say that he is, because I would like to speak for him. Leonard, what do you think about the theory that their Mecca was actually Petra and all the Qiblas at the beginning were directed towards Petra? I think that it is not very, I don't think it's a very good hypothesis, to be honest. I think it's very lacking in many ways. And we talked about this. David also doesn't think that it's very strong. That's just our perspective on it. It's too long of a topic. Don OC, I want to understand this conflict better, but I don't know where to start. Any recommendations? I would start with doing something as simple as reading on the history of the conflict, from starting with the 20th century, the beginning of the 20th century, from objective sources like Britannica. You could even go to Wikipedia if you know how to use Wikipedia correctly. People have this whole thing about don't read Wikipedia, it's biased. Yeah, Wikipedia is an open source encyclopedia that everyone can edit, but you have to know how to use the sources correctly, like going and checking what the sources are, what to do with the sources, and so on. If you're going to read about this conflict, you're going to read biased sources anyway, most of the time. So it will make no difference for you to go and check that out. But yeah, I would recommend, in terms of actual serious historians, Benny Morris is a very balanced and very reliable, very credible historian. Check out his stuff. He wrote extensively about 1947, 1948 war. What's that book called? I always forget the name of that book. Gosh. Benny Morris. The 30-year, no, not that. Righteous Victims is one. The Birth of the Palestinian Refugee Problem is another. But he has very, very solid perspectives and explanations of the whole thing. And he Benny Morris is very, very approachable, even from a perspective, from a starting point where you don't want to go for the hardcore Zionist approach. The guy is very balanced and very fair, and he presents it all very, very well. There is very little criticism that you can actually express in response to that guy's historical analysis. So that's what I would recommend. But yeah, it is a very complicated topic. The Heavy Heart Show says, do you have thoughts on Alex Jones claiming a false flag that Israeli government let it happen? Alex Jones says a lot of things, including that the friggin' frogs are being turned gay, and that he can that he has a different nature and he can engage in interdimensional time travel and see into the future and things like that. Alex Jones is crazy. I don't think I know that there are lots of people who might be watching me and David and who like Alex Jones in certain ways, but the guy is he's a nut job. I'm sorry, he's crazy. He's crazy. That's it. That's all I can say about him. The Sahih Muskris says David always leaving early. Yeah, that's what he does. That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
That's what David does. Hope for better for both people. I agree. Hope so too. Hope so too. That was the general sentiment that I saw in Israel. Everyone wishing for peace. Peace. Okay, I'm going to read a few chats here, and then I'm going to go as well. I didn't even plan a live stream. I just decided to go live because this whole thing happened. And yeah, by the way, before I'm gone, I want to check one final time if there's evidence that Israel killed 104 people today and that Israel is responsible for what happened. Let me see one more time. I'm going to open my post here, which has been seen by 200,000 people now, and I asked for evidence. It's right here on the screen. I made a post, has been retweeted by serious people, has almost 200,000 views now, and I just asked for evidence. I'm asking for evidence for the claims that the IDF waited for crowds to arrive and then fired at them and bombed them and ran over them with tanks and so on. I asked for evidence. The only reason I'm not going through the replies here live is that people post some really messed up stuff in response, so I can't trust opening these on my screen here during a live stream. But I'll check here quickly. If anyone, you can also go and check it right there. It's right on my Twitter page. See if anyone provided any evidence. Disgusting people, massacre by lying about Palestinians pretending to be dead. That's not evidence. No evidence. No evidence. I ask where. Still no evidence. Yeah, sorry, there's no evidence. If anyone can actually show me that there's evidence that Israel massacred a bunch of people today during that whole incident, show it to me. Give me a link. I want to see it. I want to talk about it. The way it looks right now is that the story was deliberately taken as propaganda campaign against the IDF from the very beginning. And the IDF has been very transparent about what happened today. It wasn't the IDF massacring people. It was a situation that got out of control with people trampling each other, and even the BBC reporting that most of the deaths were caused by a truck driven by a Palestinian or an Arab driver running people over as a result. There's no evidence against the IDF at all. That's it. So if some people are going to say you're biased, you're defending Israel, yeah, okay, you can say that. Feel free to say that. Can you show me, though, that you are actually right? Imran Ali said, there is the video. He won't open it. Yeah, sure, bro. We believe you. Where's the video? I'll wait for you here, Imran Ali. Send me a link to the video, and I'll look at it. Everyone sees it, right? Imran Ali, if you want me to look at the evidence, send a link to the evidence right now, right here. Everyone sees it, right? If I don't open it and if I don't look at it here, then I am a giant hypocrite and a liar. That's it. I'm right here. Okay? I'm waiting for it. Go on, continue. Do that. I'm waiting. Still no evidence. All there is just people talking and people making accusations and saying there is evidence. You're just denying it. It's stupid. Which not because a truck went on not enough for you that misleading the tactics of war. It's so stupid. Why would Israel wait for a moment of the peak of the world's attention, the peak of media attention, and wait for that incident and then just massacre a bunch of people? The whole world is looking at the humanitarian aid situation right now. The peak of the world's attention, of the media attention, would be when the trucks are entering Gaza and people are given humanitarian aid. Is that really the time for an evil country, an evil empire, to attack the civilian population and basically commit suicide in front of the media? Are people genuinely so stupid that they think this is what Israel does? That this is Israel's master plan, to wait for when everyone is looking and then to just go and kill a bunch of civilians? How does it make sense? And the same people will then go on and be like, Jews control the world, Israel is controlling the world, it's a giant big conspiracy. If that's what Israel actually did, that would mean that Israel is really the dumbest country out there. And I can assure you that's not the case. Man, none of this makes any sense. It's so stupid. Plus 3 days of delivery. And then on this day, you can clearly see that crowds are running and climbing on the trucks. Suddenly, Israel decides to just kill a bunch of people. It doesn't make sense. It's so ridiculous. But people just say whatever. Imran Ali, you said mental gymnastics. I'm still waiting for you to give me a link. See, this is what you people are. This is what you do. You say that I ignore the evidence, or that pro-Israel voices and advocates ignore the evidence, but you never, ever provide the evidence because you are liars. You are complete liars. You malign these people, this country, and this army baselessly for your stupid agenda, for your vile agenda. That's what you do. This is why I'm supporting Israel. Because I know how your side is. Because I know that you are liars and that you are haters, that you spread hate, that you live for hate, that you thrive on hate, and that everything you do is built on lies. I saw the other side. I saw the Israeli side. And I see who the honest ones are. It's the Israelis. It's Israel. Significantly better. You should all look at them and learn from them. The people of Israel live. Am Yisrael Chai. With that said, Imran, you're a joke, and your whole pro-Palestine stuff is also a joke. And Hamas are terrorists, and they will be eradicated soon. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I will be back soon. See, you support genocide. When you ask them for evidence, they're like, you genocide, Zionist. Asking for evidence is genocide. That's the new definition of genocide. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for joining. I will see you again soon. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay away from terrorists and stay away from Islam.